Humans. Curious creatures are we. We walk upright, we pave mountains, tame rivers and flatten forests. We declare ourselves the most intelligent life form this world has ever seen. And we might be right. But then again, we might not even understand what that means. For what is intelligence? Is it memory? Is it logic? Is it creativity or cunning? Is it the ability to lie, to deceive, to dream? Or is it something else entirely? In the beginning, we were just another set of beasts, gnawing on bones and howling at moons, scratching at fleas. We had opposable thumbs for sure, but so do raccoons, and they're not building particle accelerators. It wasn't fire, it wasn't stone tools, it wasn't even agriculture that separated us from the rest. It was language. The day we learned to wrap sound around thought, to give name to the nameless, to assign symbols to things, we didn't just begin to speak, we began to think. Because before you can think something, you have to have the words for it. You see, intelligence isn't just the ability to learn, it's the ability to describe what you've learned, to pass it on, to build on it. An ape might learn how to use a stick to fish for termites, but only a human can tell a story about it. Only a human can write it down. Only a human can explain why one stick is better than another, and what it means. That is language, and that is the foundation of intelligence. But here's the strange part. Despite using our language every moment of our waking lives, most people, when pressed, cannot actually define the words they use, not even the simple ones. Take the word concept, for instance. What's a concept? You might say, well, it's sort of an idea. And what's an idea? Well, I suppose it's a thought. And what's a thought? It's something your brain does. And suddenly we're 3 words deep. So your brain thinks and comes up with thoughts, and you compile the thoughts into a concept. So isn't a concept the same as a thought? And a thought is the same as an idea. All this and no closer to understanding anything at all, just orbiting around definitions like confused satellites. Let's try another. Can you define truth? You might say, well, truth is a fact. All right then, well, what's a fact? Well, a fact is something that's true. So truth means fact, and fact means truth. That's like asking for directions and being told, where's the bakery? Oh, it's right across from the muffin shop. And where's the muffin shop? Oh, it's across from the bakery. You've defined nothing. You've just walked in a perfect circle and somehow felt clever for it. And so would be the same if I asked you to define self. You'd probably say, well, self is me. Okay, so what is me? Is it I? All right, so what is I? Well, it's who I am. And who are you? You might say, well, you means me, but from my perspective, you means you and I am me. So is self me or I, or you, or who? That's like trying to define time. It's not a physical substance like matter or space. You can't touch it, you can't see it, and yet it governs every moment of our lives. So, what is time? Is it the ticking of a clock? The earth rotating on its axis, giving us our days? The revolution around the sun, so we know our next birthday? Or is it something more abstract, like the unfolding of change? We say time is relative, and not just philosophically, but literally. Einstein said time stretches and shrinks depending on gravity and speed. Time on a satellite moves differently than time here on Earth. If you spend a few months in space, when you come back, you're technically younger than your twin brother. That's not science fiction, that's physics. So, what is time? It's not a thing, it's a relationship, a measurement of change, a story we tell ourselves to make sense of motion. And yet we cling to it like it's solid as granite. You see, time is not only relative to where you are in the universe, it's also relative to whom you ask. But we can go with something simpler. Let's try a sentence, something like, "The sun is shining today." Sounds innocent enough. We can all agree on what sun means. We've all seen it. If you want a definition of the sun, you could easily point to it and say, well, there's the sun right there, and that's fine. You could probably find some roundabout way involving time to define what today is. You might say, well, it's this day, not yesterday, and not tomorrow. But that's not a definition, that's a comparison, that's a workaround. Can you really define now without comparing it to before or after? You start to realize that even the simplest words unravel like threads when you pull at them. So let's take the other words. Can you honestly tell me what the word "the" means? It's the most common word in the English language. It's a word you place before other words, but what does it mean? We put it everywhere. The sun, the sky, the dog. But what does "the" actually mean? Why is it there? You might say, well, it's there to specify something, to show you which thing I mean. All right, but when you say the sun, what other sun could you possibly mean? Certainly, if you were talking about the sun, we'd know exactly which sun you were referring to. And the sun is a star, after all. The sun is what we call our star. We don't say, the star is shining today, even though technically that's what it is. We say the sun because that's the name that we've given it. So we know which sun. But whether we say sun or star, is "the" even necessary? Or is it just filler? Or how about the word "is"? Can you define the word "is"? Another word just stuck in the middle, connecting words together. Everyone uses it, but what does it mean? Why is it there? Certainly, in a more archaic form, we could say sun shining, and you would still get the same idea. We just think the sun is shining sounds better. It's more proper, more intelligent sounding to connect words with other words that have no meaning. So we add words that have no meaning to sound like we have more meaning. We've created an entire linguistic peacock display, feathers made of fluff, because the more words you use, the more intelligent you appear to be. Not are, just appear. There are people walking around today who use enormous complex sentences and haven't the slightest idea what they're even saying, expanding their vocabulary when they can't even define the simplest of the words they use. Like the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz, how can you talk if you haven't got a brain? I don't know, but some people without brains do an awful lot of talking. Exactly. They talk and talk, layering words upon words, thinking the noise has meaning when it often does not. It's camouflage, a sleight of hand, a way of hiding the fact that deep down they don't actually know what they're talking about. And you may find it funny, but the truth is, none of us do. We speak in a language we did not invent, using words we cannot define to express thoughts we're not even sure we're having. We just feel them. And yet somehow we manage to build skyscrapers, we write poetry, we fall in love, we start wars, all with these flimsy little phonetic symbols, these labels we call language. A miracle, really. A cosmic joke. We don't understand the thing that allows us to understand anything. Did you know that even educated adults struggle to define over 60% of their common vocabulary they use every day? And that's being generous. If you dig deeper, ask them to explain why the word means what it does, most would stare at you blankly, like a goat offered a violin. But the miracle is, we don't have to understand the parts to construct the whole. We stack these words, these sounds we don't fully grasp, one atop another, and somehow we build meaning. You can say, "I'm devastated by your betrayal," and another person hearing that collection of breath and vibration will feel it. They may even cry. Now how strange is that? You don't know what devastated really means, not in the philosophical sense. You didn't invent the word. You might not even be able to define it precisely, but you still feel it. And so does someone else. What does that say about us? Is language a tool or more of a trap? Because while it allows us to think, it also defines the limits of what we can think. You cannot imagine a color you've never seen. You cannot conceive of a concept without the words to cradle it. Language is the map and the prison. Consider this: the very idea of a self is built on language. Without the word I, there is no ego. You are only you because you keep telling yourself that you are. What happens, I wonder, when the inner monologue goes silent, when language falls away? Is there still intelligence there? Or does the mind dissolve back into something more primal, more present? But let us return for a moment to the question of meaning. Because language does more than describe the world, it creates it. It's said that the Inuit have dozens of words for snow, but they don't see more snow than you. They simply see it more deeply, because they can describe it more precisely. Likewise, ancient Persian had no word for guilt, and consequently, little concept of it. What you name becomes reality. What you can't describe becomes invisible. So in this way, your vocabulary is your reality. And if that's true, then what kind of world are we building for ourselves? Now here's a more curious twist. Artificial intelligence. We're teaching machines to think, to speak, to write. But the secret is they don't understand a single word. They just predict the next one. They are brilliant parrots, sophisticated reflection pools of our own language, fed back to us through code. But then again, so are we. When you speak, are you expressing original thought, or are you repeating phrases you've heard before, stringing them together like beads on a necklace? Perhaps intelligence is not thought at all, but the illusion of thought, a dance of language, an echo chamber with mirrors on every side. So let's ask the uncomfortable questions. If you can't define the words you use, are you truly thinking? If a machine can mimic your language, what makes your speech more real than its code? If your thoughts are built from language, and your language is built from culture, and your culture is built from history, then who are you, really? Are you the speaker, or merely the voice box? Are you the author of your thoughts, or just the reader? And yet, despite all this, language remains the most powerful force on earth. With it, we've written holy books, declared wars, said I do, and whispered I'm sorry. With it, we've built civilizations, broken hearts, taught children, and convinced entire nations to believe in gods, borders, justice, and brunch. Is it magic? Whispered into breath, cast into the air like spells. You don't think in thoughts, you think in words, and words are inherited. So when you speak, you are echoing the past and shaping the future. So the next time you say something, anything, pause. Not to correct yourself, not to censor, but to marvel at the strange, invisible machinery inside your own mouth. The alchemy of vowels and consonants, the cosmic riddle that allows one brain to touch another. And ask yourself, do I know what I'm saying, or am I simply repeating? And if language creates intelligence, what becomes of us when we forget what our words mean?